Testing, okay. So can we start off as usual by acknowledging ourselves for being here tonight? Give it up to us. Especially after the day we've had today. Absolutely. Welcome to the Way of Mastery. If you haven't been here before, welcome to the Way of Mastery. And just keep in mind that you don't have to believe it, you don't have to accept it, you don't have to welcome it, you don't have to believe it, you don't have to accept it, you don't have to welcome it. Some of it you might find hard to believe. Some of it might be kind of startling. You're not asked to judge it at all, analyze it. You can if you want to, but if you use it, you will see that it works. And this class really isn't for people who are necessarily expected to hear what the world teaches about anything. That's what I love about it. That it's saying something to us that's different from what we have learned, what we've usually been brought up in this world to experience and to believe is true. So don't look for me to talk normal. Okay? We don't do normal in my classes. There are a lot of normal classes. It's for people who have reached their limit in some way and they want to believe there must be a better way. There must be another way for me to take a look at, even though it's up to me in the end to figure out whether or not, or to decide whether or not I'm going to use it. And we've been covering in the Way of Mastery the keys to the kingdom. And it says there are 4 keys to the kingdom. And that's desire, intention, allowance, surrender. Desire, intention, allowance, surrender. Desire, intention, allowance, surrender. So I'm going to do about a 5-minute focusing in using those 4 terms. So you can kind of let go of the day, and close your eyes if you don't mind. Kind of shut out everything for a minute. Or not. Desire, intention, allowance, surrender. Desire, intention, surrender. Desire, intention, allowance, surrender. Desire, intention, allowance, surrender. Desire, intend, allow, surrender. Desire, intend, allow, surrender. Desire, intend, allow, surrender. Desire, intend, allow, surrender. Desire, intend, so desire, intend, desire, intent, allowance, surrender. Desire, intention, allowance, surrender. What is it that you most desire? 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 What are you doing on this planet? 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 What are you committed to? 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 Your intention is to use time constructively. My intention is to use time constructively. And how do you do that? Use time for relearning. Use time for relearning of what it means to abide in total joy and to fulfill your function. Your intention is to use time constructively for the relearning of what it means to fulfill your function, your true function, your real function. What is your real function? Your real function is healing. That means your real function is letting go of every block to love. Your real function is learning how to let go of the blocks to love, to truth, to freedom, to abundance, to joy, to health in your life and in the lives of others. Your function is healing. And what does healing require? Healing requires the presence of your true self, your authentic, unlimited self. Healing requires the presence of your true self, your authentic self, your real self, your loving self, your great self, sometimes known as the Christ self. For only your true self, your real self, your loving self, your safe self, your aware self, your happy self, your joyous self, your free self, your sane self, only your sane self can express the love. Only your sane self can express the love that brings healing into being. You are here to express the love that brings healing into being. You are here to express through your true self the love that brings healing into being. Desire, intention, allowance, and surrender. Surrender to what? Your true, unlimited, loving, real, authentic, divine self. Okay. you have the Way of Mastery book, we're in the Way of the Heart. We're in lesson 5, the keys to the kingdom. The third key is allowance. So we're going to be on page 61 in the hardcover book. And I'm starting with the paragraph that says, the way of the heart begins. So we're going to push through some material, throw it open for question and discussion for a few minutes, and then I'm going to keep going. We're going to see how much of it we can hear tonight. It says the way of the heart begins with the recognition that you are already loved. So if you're going to go into the way of the heart, it starts off by the recognition that you're already loved by the only source that matters. You're already loved by the only source that matters, that you've come for a much higher purpose that can be manifest in the ways of the world, but not of the world. So do you know that you came for a much higher purpose that can be made manifest in the ways of the world, but is not of the world? So allowance is the cultivation of a way of looking at the events in your life. So allowance is a way of looking at the events in your life, not as obstacles to getting what you want, but as stepping stones. So the second key is allowance, which is saying that the second key is that we must learn how to cultivate a way of looking at things, that we don't look at what's happening in our life as being obstacles. So to allow means to learn how to look at what's happening in your life in a way that you don't look at what's happening in your life as obstacles to getting what you want. So I have to stop looking at my life as if anything that's happening today, anything that happened today, or anything that's going on in my life right now as being an obstacle to getting what I want. And I must see it as a stepping stone. So do you know that everything that you're going through right now, no matter how you feel about whatever's going on right now, is a stepping stone to getting what you want? Then it tells us each stepping stone presents you with a blessing of the lessons required to heal the obstacles, not to success, but you want to get rid of the obstacles to the presence of love as the source and ground of your being. So do you know that means that we're learning how to let go of any thoughts that would keep us from getting in touch with the presence of love, which is the ground of our being, the very basis of our being. So in the stage of allowance, we begin to cultivate an acceptance of all things in our experience. So do you know that when you are learning to cultivate allowance, what you're doing is learning how to accept all things in your experience. You're learning how to accept all things in your experience. And it says we begin to see that because we have made a commitment to awakening and incarnating only Christ, which is our true, loving, authentic self. So let the word Christ freak you out. It just means your true, loving, authentic self that was created by a true, loving, authentic self. So what does that mean? It means that the universe is already conspiring to bring the people and events into your life on a moment-to-moment basis that can best provide you with exactly what you most need to learn and become aware of. And so these are messengers that are sent. So what does that mean? It means just what I said. The universe is already conspiring to bring the people and events into our lives on a moment-to-moment basis that can best provide us with exactly what we most need to learn or become aware of. So another way you could say that is this: all of the people and events in your life right now are coming into your life right now on a moment-to-moment basis because these are the people and these are the events that can best provide you with exactly what you most need to learn and what you most need to be aware of. So therefore, I don't care whether we like them, don't like them, we're upset with them, not upset with them, wish we'd never see them again or whatever. The truth is that they are absolutely the best people that could be in our lives right now in order to provide us with exactly what we need to become aware of in ourselves in order to be happy.
Okay.
So the people who can most be the path to your happiness are already in your life and you were hanging out with them today.
Wow.
But the part of us that doesn't know the truth is always looking for it to be the next person that comes.
Yes.
You want to fire everybody that's there now and say, I want the next person. And what the truth is telling us is that the universe is a conspiracy. So all of you with those conspiracy theories, you're right. There is a conspiracy, but it's a conspiracy to bring the kind of people and events into your life on a moment-to-moment basis that will best provide you with exactly what you need to learn and what you need to be aware of. And it's the people that's already in your life right now. All right. And so they're called messengers. And the messengers are sent to you. It's not our charisma and our cuteness and our smartness and the stuff that we have materially and physically that's attracting people to us, even though our ego likes to think that. The truth is they're being sent by the universe because they are who you most need to have in your life right now to provide you with the best opportunity to learn what you most need to be aware of. And they're called children. And they're called sisters, and they're called brothers, and they're called relatives, and they're called bosses, and they're called co-workers, and they're called people in traffic that give you the finger. That's what they're called. They're called everybody that comes into your life, and everybody that came into your life today were sent because they were the best people to come into your life today to provide you with the opportunities that you need in order to become aware of what are the obstacles or stepping stones that you need in order to get what you want. Amen. So everybody that's in your life right now, they're actually there to aid you in receiving what you want. And even if they don't know it, and even if obviously we didn't know it. That's why we're here tonight, so we can know that. Right? And so it says the messengers could come in the form of somebody whom you fall in love with. And there is something there for you to learn. It could be that you've been blocking yourself from feeling love for other people, and now someone finally comes that blasts the door open. In other words, you just can't help but feel loving toward them. So some people will be sent into your life to make you lose control. You just can't help but love them. You just can't help it. You can't help yourself. You know, if it's real love, you can't control it. If it's not real love, you're in total control. So remember that the next time that you're thinking about love, true love is so good, you wouldn't want to control yourself, and you wouldn't be in danger.
Yep. If it's true love.
If it's true love, you're not in danger.
That's right.
Okay, so the messenger could be someone who comes as a grain of sand within the oyster. In other words, somebody that causes friction within you, that nudges you from your sleep. Most of us have lots of frictioneers, right? Those that cause friction within us, that nudges you what? From your sleep, and then you realize that you've been operating out of some very dysfunctional patterns. And that you have got to get a better grip on yourself. That you need to get a grip on the truth of who you are. So people who irritate you, they get you in touch with your own dysfunctional patterns that you need to get a grip on.
Yes.
Okay? So the people that irritate us are getting us in touch with dysfunctional patterns that we need to get a grip on. So what's the purpose of people who irritate us? To get us in touch with dysfunctional patterns that we need to get a grip on ourselves. We need to get a grip. That's basically what this book is saying. Y'all need to get a grip. Okay. Now it may be that you need to learn to express your feelings more. It may be that you need to accept your own creativity more. Through what? Your messengers, the people who are sent to you, which causes you finally to be responsible and to be honest about where you are, will be brought up within you. So these people will also make you get honest with yourself. Your messengers from God will be people that will make you get real with yourself and get honest with yourself and get out of denial with yourself. For instance, if you think, well, I'm never angry at anyone after all, I'm a very spiritual person. I just got out of seminary. I know it all now. So I'll just live in, heavenly bliss. And then events begin to happen. Perhaps it's an example. A gay couple moves into your neighborhood and you discover that you have very deeply seated perceptions that there is something wrong with that sexual orientation. Those people are your messengers sent to you by the universe to push you to look more deeply. So who in your life is pushing you to look more deeply right now? Allowance, then, is the cultivation of a quality of awareness in which you rest in the recognition that your life is no longer your own to dictate and control. So allowance is you becoming aware that your life is no longer your own to dictate and control. What does that mean? It means that you've given your life over to your greater self, God, the source of your own beingness. You've given yourself to that deep and depth of wisdom in the depth of the ocean that knows best how to bring about what is required to push up the draws from within your consciousness so that you can be released. I'm no longer in control now. I'm giving the control over to the part of me that's the source of my being, and I'm also giving it permission to bring into my life everything I need and everybody that I need to free me of every block and every block and every block, and did I say any block and every dysfunction that I need to let go of in order for me to realize my function and my happiness and my joy and my abundance and my peace. If it's supposed to be that way and it's not that way, there's something in you that's keeping it from being that way, and you want that, whatever that is, to be released. So you have allowance in your heart, which means that you're going to cultivate an awareness that everything and everybody in your life right now, they're there because the universe sent them to you, because they were the best people in the best events and the best circumstances that you could possibly have to free you of everything that blocks your joy. Yeah. Okay, that's who everybody is in your life right now. And if you don't like them, they're the friction, they're the friction, they're the friction. That's all it is, which means these are the folks that get you in touch with dysfunctions that you have that you may not know you have. Now, how do you know that's true? Because of the way you respond to them. Because of how they irritate you. The fact that they upset you means you're dysfunctional, because the person that's not dysfunctional doesn't allow themselves to get upset.
Wow.
They have such a perception of reality that cannot be disturbed. They're so centered in who they are that the most irritating person in the world wouldn't irritate them. So you're dysfunctional if you get irritated by what you perceive, according to the truth that we said we don't have to believe. Okay, now I'm not saying you have to believe this. We just saying we're going to hear what we don't normally hear. Okay, so I'm not dysfunctional, then why are you pissed off? Yes, you are. That's how you know you're dysfunctional. You're sad, you're unhappy, you're miserable, you're not happy, you don't reach out, you don't communicate, you're scared to talk to people, you think you just need to be alone by yourself, you distrust everybody you meet except for just a few special people that you hope you can get just a few little shabby special relationships with that might last till you die.
Maybe. Not likely.
You see what I'm saying? The Course in Miracles and the Way of Mastery, they don't take any prisoners. They just tell you like it is, and then they leave it up to you. It leaves it up to you to react however you want to react to it. And the more friction that this brings up, then I'm actually being sent by the universe to you to help bring up the dysfunctions within you that you need to take a look at. That's why I'm sitting here. And I'm black too.
Yeah. Double friction.
Double dysfunction friction bring up around here. And if it bothered you that I brought up race, then you got a racial problem. Those people who have racial problems are the people who get most upset when you mention race. They be the ones that say, I never noticed you were black. And then I go, are you blind?
Yeah,
Of course
you
you
get
don't.
blind.
I got a black body. I'm not black, I have a black body. You're not your body any more than I'm my body. But just being in this body is going to create lessons for me.
Yeah.
Just being in this body has created lessons for me. But it was not thrust upon me without my choice. I chose this body and this sex. That's what I believe. I don't believe anything happens to us except by choice. Even if we forget we made the choice. Sometimes you forget you made the choice so that you can take it more seriously. Think about it. Think about it. So it says allowance then cultivates trust. Allowance cultivates trust. Allowance is the way in which intention and desire come to work ever more fully in the third dimension of your experience, the field of time. So allowance is a submission, but it's not a naive submission. Allowance changes your perception of what you see and what you see as the world around you. So you begin to realize that you don't really live in a real world at all. You begin to realize you don't really live in a real world at all. What you live in is a field of vibrations. We're living in a field of vibrations. We're living in a vibrational field. That's what this is. This is a vibrational field. Dogs can hear things that we can't even hear. They're on a level of vibration beyond our ability to even hear it. But does that mean that they're not hearing it? No. It just means that I don't have a level of consciousness that allows me to hear it. So that means if that's true, theoretically, there could be worlds upon worlds and things upon things that we don't see, just like we can't hear things that a dog can hear or smell things that a dog can smell. So the biggest lie you can tell yourself is that the only thing that's real is what I can see with my physical and experience with my physical senses. That is a very limited perception of reality. If you don't see it, if you don't feel it, it couldn't possibly be true. That's what the blind person says.
Yes.
Or spiritually blind person.
Yeah.
So you're living in a field of vibration and energies that is operated by the law of attraction or resonance. So we're in a field of energies that's operating by the law of attraction. So therefore, everyone in your life, they're there because of the law of attraction. Everyone is in your life, they're there because of the law of attraction. Everyone that's in your life and everything that's in your life is there because of the law of attraction. Everything that's in your life is there because of the law of attraction. Everything. Everything. Wow. And so you begin to be willing to allow certain things to fall out of your life. Begin to be willing to allow certain things to fall out of your life. Mm-hmm. Cultivate the ability to be willing to allow some things to leave your life. Mm-hmm. That includes family, friends, trusting that because of your desire and intention, what passes out of your life must be okay. If your desire is for love and your desire is to recognize who you really are, if your desire is to get in touch with the true self that you are, the power that you are, the love that you are, the freedom that you are, then you must be willing to let anything and anybody drop out of your life and see that as okay if that's what happens as a result of you trying to finally be loving and true to yourself. Now, I didn't say that these would be qualities that you already had accomplished or you really were ready to do today. We're just merely being told, this is what's necessary in order for you to cultivate the quality of allowing so that you can finally have the joy and happiness that you want to have. So for it will be replaced, now this is the cool part, whatever leaves your life, whatever drops out of your life will be replaced by new vibrational patterns. Those new vibrational patterns will come in the form of messengers. In other words, you're going to have new events, new places, and new persons and things that can carry you on the upward spiral of awakening. So for everything that leaves, something will come into your life that will take you even further faster. So nothing's going to leave without being replaced by something that can move you faster. Wow.
Trust.
That's great to know. You mean that nobody has left my life that would not be replaced by something or someone that would be even of greater benefit to me. So that means you're the people of greatest benefit to me. Mm-hmm. You're the people who are of greatest benefit to me. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with whether or not you see yourself as that or not. That's the cool part about it. It doesn't have anything to do with whether or not you feel that way. It only matters that I see you that way. And you also have the choice of whether or not you're willing to see everybody in the room and in your life that way. That's your choice. You can choose to see them as obstacles, or you can choose to see your life as a stepping stone. That's up to you. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. It's up to you. You can choose to see it as if your life is full of obstacles, or you can choose to see it as if your life is full of stepping stones. And if you can get upset when someone leaves your life, or you could be grateful that they've left your life because for whatever reason you've learned as much as you can from each other right now, and now it's time to have something or somebody else sent into your life that is giving you an even more beautiful upward spiral. Mm-hmm. That's right. You'd be out at a party one night, somebody would walk up to you and say, "Hey, baby, I'm your upward spiral." You know, you didn't know it, but I'm here. That's right. Or you could walk up to somebody and say that. I bet you get their attention too. I'm your upward spiral. Right? So allowance means the beginning stages of the cultivation of humility. What is humility? The recognition that you must finally submit to something beyond the intellect, which kicks butts, kicks an American's butt, kicks people who live in the West. Nothing kicks our butt more than saying go beyond the intellect. Because over here, where there's a very powerful connection with the masculine force, then it's all about the intellect and not so much about the feminine, which is the feeling. So if we can't figure it out, analyze it, it doesn't make scientific sense, it's hard for people in the West to give things any credence or power or validity. So that means you must finally submit to something beyond the intellect, which means the control of your egoic part of your mind, because the maker and doer that has been trying to do it all is finally recognized as being inadequate. All of a sudden you resign as your own teacher. You resign as your own teacher because you objectively recognize the results of you trying to teach yourself all these years, which is you're still not satisfied. So based on the results of you trying to teach yourself and not letting your source teach you, is telling us that you should resign. Based on your results, you should resign. Based on your results, you should resign. Turn in your papers. You can leave them in a pile in the room before you go. Resign. But resign to what? I'm resigning because I am now allowing myself to be taught by the part of myself that knows what's going on.
Amen.
And it is not the you that's sitting in the chair.
It's not my intellect.
It is not the intellect. It is not the us that's wondering what's going to happen 3 hours from now. That is not the leader. It's the reactor.
Right.
So these books like The Course in Miracles and Way of Mastery, they teach us how to interpret what has already occurred in a way that we won't lose our peace so that we can hear the guidance that we're being given from moment to moment. Because we only see what's already happened. By the time we see anything, it's already occurred. So that's why we know, in a sense, at this level, we aren't the creator. Because we're constantly reacting to what's already happened.
We see only the past.
We're only seeing the past. We know that's true. You know, you see me, then you react. You hear me, then you react. You get in your car and you react. You get up out of the chair, you react. So we're learning how to see what's already happened in a way that doesn't block our peace. So we can hear our guidance, because we're only seeing the past. What kind of past? You're only seeing what you've learned in the past. That's all you see is what you've learned in the past. You see this as a mic because you learned in the past to see it as a mic. You see me as a man because you learned in the past to see me as a man. Everything is like that. Everything you see has been named, labeled, and categorized. So you're only seeing what you've learned. That's all we see. Period. All of us. That's all we see. What we've learned. So now, since we know that we only see in the past, then we need to get in touch with the part of us that's in the present. So, before I go to the fourth key, any questions or any sharing or any comments about what we're talking about?
So we only see what's in the past.
We only see our past learning.
We're only trying to, and we're also trying to allow intention for what we desire. And what's the fourth one?
Desire, intention, allowance, and surrender.
No.
Okay,
We have to surrender to allow intention to our desires.
It all works. First I got to have the intention, then first I have to have the desire. And then the desire should be for me to be here to create only the good, the beautiful, and the holy. If I got in a sense, my real desire is going to be my desire to be used by the love that which created all things that I'm a part of in order to be part of the evolution and the love and the joy of the planet. I mean, but I might say I want, like I said last week, I might say I want a new refrigerator. But the truth is, I really should desire to be an instrument of the divine to bring more healing and more love and more joy through myself onto the planet, to everyone on the planet. So that's what I should. That's what I will desire as I wake up.
Yes.
And then it says, now you need to cultivate allowance. And like it said, cultivating allowance simply means I'm no longer fighting my reality anymore. I'm not fighting my day-to-day experience anymore, because now I'm seeing my day-to-day experience as a stepping stone to getting exactly the love and the happiness and the peace that I want. I'm cultivating the ability to recognize that what I want to do is recognize that each and every one of you are being sent to me so that you can bring up in me whatever it is that's blocking me from having the joy and satisfaction that I need to have. And then some people are going to come into my life and I'm going to friggin' fall in love with them. I'm going to love them as soon as I see it. I can't help it. My heart's going to bust wide open. I want to join with them. I want to connect with them. They bring joy just by being in their presence. So I have to go through my fear of love, because I just can't help it but to love you. And then some people are going to irritate the hell out of me to bring out the dysfunctions that I need to learn how to let go of in order to be happy. And most of the time, people focus on the friction people the most. Why would it seem like there were more friction people than loving people? Because there's more of me that's dysfunctional than loving. So that's why they show up. Yes.
Oh, no. Okay.
And I love it. It says allowance is submission.
Yeah.
Submission to what? You know. Also allowance is, we were told, is being willing to recognize that we're living in a field of vibrations and that everyone is being attracted to us based on our vibrations, and if people move out of our lives, we should be happy about that, because it just means that some more things and people and events are about to come into our life that will move us even higher on the spiral of our joy.
Yeah.
See, if you looked at your life like that and I looked at my life like that, we would be much happier.
Yes, indeed.
And that's the notice is not requiring anything that we couldn't give tonight. There's nothing that I said that there's not a person in this room couldn't do tonight. That's why the ego part of the mind loves to come to classes that talk about things that you're going to have to work hard and so for you to have it in the future.
Yes.
See, the ego loves that. Oh yeah, in order for me to be happy, then I've got to get this house, I got to get this car, I got to get this soulmate, I got to get this degree, I got to get this training, I got to get into another country, I got to do something, you know. So ego loves that. It loves us to come up with all the stuff that needs to be done.
Yes.
Because that can seem to be very difficult and complicated, and you know. But when someone says something like, in order for you to be happy, you need to have the intent to recognize everybody in your life as being sent to you by the divine, because they are the best people that you could possibly have in your life to help you grow the way that you need to grow in order to be happy. Then that's just a perceptual shift.
Yes.
That's just changing the way I look at things, which I could do tonight no matter what my financial situation, my relationship situation, my physical situation. What the truth always teaches us is always what we could do now. And that's how you can tell the truth from what's not the truth. The truth is always available now. Things is not based on the truth. It always takes time to have. Let's rumble.
Yes. There's a lot of intellects in here.
I doubt intellects like that.
We can do it now.
Oh, we can do it now. The intellect just said, okay, we can do that now. Anybody else in the comments, any questions? You can also just share. It doesn't have to necessarily be a question. It could be an aha. Something you said that I don't want to forget. I want to keep in mind. Damn, I'm a good teacher.
Yeah, man, you answered it all.
After so good, nobody has any questions about anything. All right. Oh, cool. I ain't got no problem with that. All right. I'm going to pass this around. This is a contact list. You notice I video my classes, and then when I upload them, if you're on my contact list, I send you an email link so that you can go right to the class and you can watch it. And also, it's a way to know whether or not I'm having a class for any reason that I'm not having a class. So, or you can also go online and do it. But why do I do that? Because it's through repetition that we change our minds. It's through hearing this over and over again that we change our minds. Once a week, maybe for an hour, that you may not be tuned in the whole hour or so, is not the way you change your whole life. So the best I can do is try to help motivate. The only thing a good teacher can be is a good motivator. If you walk out of here and you say, I want to experience the love that I know I deserve more as a result of anything that's said, then I've done my job. Yes. All right, but there ain't no way I'm going to change your mind in an hour, especially if you want to be right. Especially if you want to be right. There's nothing I can say if you want to be right and you're miserable. Because you're being miserable really is supposed to be seen as what? The clue that you're not right. But I was taught to look at that as the clue I was right. That my anger was justified and self-righteous. I must be right because I'm so upset. And the truth is you must be wrong because you're so upset. Let's do it again. Okay, so
That's
meditation.
very interesting.
Okay. Now, review. Third key, allowance. Learning about manifesting, which is what you are always doing anyway. That helps you to begin to regain confidence in your ability to manifest. Allowance means that you begin to view life differently, begin to realize that you are already loved by the only source that matters, and that you come from a much higher purpose that can be made manifest in the ways of the world but not of the world. Allowance is cultivating a way of looking at everything in your life as if it's a stepping stone to getting what you want. Allowance is allowing God to be in control of your life. Allowance is a submission. Allow certain things to fall out of your life. Know that you live in a world that is just a field of vibrations and energies. And this book is available through various sources. So that means that you can study it on your own. Okay.
What?
I know it's a radical
What?
concept. You actually don't need me at all.
Jeez.
Yes.
What?
Yes, I know.
Does your ego want us to know that?
Yeah. My ego doesn't want you to know anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's not a black
To
side sitting
come
in
back.
the living room unless you come over.
That's right. And I'll come over and bring up all of your dysfunctions.
I'll bring up yours.
You love me so much you just can't help yourself. That's one of the two gonna happen.
Okay.
So far, it's been loving you so much that that's right. That's all I've experienced since I saw you. I know. I'll never forget the first time I laid eyes on you and we were at the party. Just gave each other a big hug and kiss. That's how we greeted.
It was awesome.
It was awesome, man. That's the way it is when you recognize yourself. When you don't recognize yourself, you're scared of everybody all the time. You know, it's a scary way to live your life. I remember that, Earl. No questions? No comments? Okay. Well, we go to the fourth key.
All right.
Okay, the fourth key is surrender. And as these three stages mature, you rest into the final stage of surrender. And surrender means there is no longer any restlessness.
Nice.
Surrender means you know through every fiber of your being that there is no one here living a life. There is life flowing through the body, mind, personality for as long as it lasts. So the truth is we are just examples of life flowing through us. Life is flowing through you. Life is living you. You aren't living life. Life is living you. Life is the wind and you are the sail. Life is the wind and you are the sail. S-A-I-L. Life is the wind. You are the sail. So here is where the mystical transformation is culminated or completed. It is here that you understand the meaning of the teaching, I live, yet not I, but the Christ or the real self that dwelleth as me. So surrender basically is a stage in which perfect peace is the foundation, but perfect peace isn't the foundation for passivity and inactivity. See, sometimes people think of peace as doing nothing and being passive and being inactive. That's why we have the saying, rest in peace. So people associate peace with death and life with conflict. So when people start to feel a lot of peace, they have a tendency to believe they're about to die.
That's exactly right.
My life is too peaceful. I'm about to die. I know something's about to happen. Something bad's about to happen. I'm feeling too much peace right now. So we associate conflict with life and death with peace when it's just the opposite. Conflict is in the not living your life. And peace comes from being awake. Your happiness comes from being awake. Your rest comes from being awake. When you are an awake person, you just know how to recognize misery and go the other way. When you are an awake person, you can listen to a person and you will know in 2 minutes whether or not to get more deeply involved with that person. You'll know who to approach and who to avoid if you're awake. So your rest really comes from being aware, which is awake. It's when you're unaware that your life is full of drama because you don't know what you want, so you take a chance on everybody that shows up. And so it's like you're a gambler. All right, this one is breathing, now give him a try.
Oh, God.
I have very high standards. Are you alive?
Yes.
Do you breathe? Okay, we'll see if you'll work out.
Oh, God.
You know, and you're being alive for some people, that's even optional. Okay.
Oh my God.
So really, surrender is for you to have peace. That's a foundation for even more activity.
Yeah.
So when you feel peaceful, you actually would be doing more activity, not less activity. So you find yourself, as long as you are in the world, you're actually going to find yourself being busier and busier and asked to do more and more. You become even more responsible. Eventually you come to see that because you are the Christ, you are the love, you are the divine, you are responsible for the whole of creation. You come to see that you cannot think a thought without disturbing the farthest stars. Wow. It is that responsibility from which you have shrunk and tried to contain yourself as a tiny, myopic piece of foam, all because you have feared being responsible for the whole. In other words, we have taken this incredibly large, expansive, unlimited being that we are, and out of fear, we have shrunk it down to this right here.
That's the shape.
This is the shape of a shrunken God.
Wow.
A shrunken head.
Shrunken God.
Is a shrunken God. Okay? You take that unlimited you and you compact it. And so joy makes you want to expand beyond your boundaries. You know, I don't know how many of you saw this movie that was called Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah.
You know, Jessica Rabbit made me really consider my sexuality. Now,
Oh my God.
yeah, Jessica was hot.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
it was a rabbit.
Oh,
And
yeah.
animated. That was really weird. Really weird. Anyway, we won't get into my dysfunctions. That's not the purpose of this class.
Wow.
To get into my dysfunctions.
Movie night, movie night.
Movie night. But the way that they killed the evil creatures in the movie was that they made them laugh themselves to death. They laughed so hard that they left their bodies. And that's the truth about happiness. It can't be contained. Sometimes when you're really, really happy, you actually lose your breath. You go, I just can't take, hold it, wait a minute, no, stop, I can't take no more, because we know that joy makes us expand beyond our limitations and our boundaries, and fear and anger and depression and suspicion makes us separate and shrink into a very small self. So fearful people are really shrunken people. And fearful people can be vicious, and fearful people attack because they have distorted perception. So the more frightened a person is, the more likely they are to attack you. So any conscious being knows that the one thing they want to cultivate in any relationship with anyone is a feeling of safety. Everything comes out of safety. When a person really feels safe with you, you will always know it, because at the point they feel safe with you, they will become freer with you. It's automatic. They can't help themselves. If they feel safe, who they are expresses. If a person feels unsafe, they hide behind their representative, which is what's sitting in the chair. It's your representative. Your representative is listening to me and then relaying messages to you. This is your external cubicle selves that's sitting in the chairs. None of you are nothing like anything you're acting right now. You know you're not. You know you would be acting totally different, probably with really close friends, than how you're expressing yourself in this room at this moment right now. Even if you do feel relaxed. It's not as relaxed as you be with your closest friends. Right? So we always have the guard, the sentry, the part of us that's in front of who we really are, that filters everything that happens to judge whether or not this calls for vengeance or tolerance. Are you saying something I like, or are you saying something I don't like? Because my job is to protect Earl. And you got to get through me to get to him. I'm the drawbridge.
And the troll.
You know, and the troll too. I'm all of it.
And the alligators.
And the alligators. Don't forget that. Don't forget the alligators.
And the moat.
And the what?
Moat.
And the moat. And I'm the castle. I'm the road to the castle. And I'm the sky above the castle also.
I think you're a very nice looking troll.
Thank you. I had troll plastic surgery.
That's not fair.
I know. So, but the way, I'm glad you got such a good perception of me. I'm pleased. I just can't help but love you. Come here, big boy. And those of you who have dysfunctions around that issue, You're now totally triggered.
Uncomfortable.
Eat your heart out.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So, but the way of the heart corrects your perception so that you come to recognize that your greatest joy, your greatest fulfillment is in wholly and deliberately accepting responsibility for the whole of creation. Wow, that sounds like a lot of responsibility there. But it says, why? Because you suddenly realize you're not the maker and doer, that you can accept responsibility for anything and everything, because through you, all power under heaven and earth is made to flow to manifest the love of God. So in short, it's really in God's hands, not yours. So really taking responsibility means you give over creation to that which created it.
Yeah.
So we think taking responsibility means me somehow trying to control your experience and taking responsibility for what happens to you personally. And the truth is teaching us, no, you're really being responsible if you give the responsibility to that which has the responsibility.
Yeah.
That's what's being responsible.
That's nice.
Wow.
Very nice.
Why is it that nothing's impossible to you? Because you won't be the one
I'm
doing
not
it.
doing it.
That's why that statement, nothing's impossible to you, makes sense to me now. Well, of course nothing's impossible to me if I'm not the one doing it at this level. If I think I'm the one that's got to do it, then there's a lot of things that's going to seem like it's impossible to me. So when people get all depressed when they hear they're responsible, they create their reality, it means they misperceive the whole thing. They think it's still up to them to come up with everything, even more so now, on their own. Instead of it meaning, oh, I'm a part of something that's even greater than what I think I am, that I need to tap into, that I need to allow myself to be a conduit for that energy and that intelligence and that love to come through me into my experience. And all the people that will bring joy and happiness and growth to me and that I would bring growth to are going to be sent to me as stepping stones to help us both get to the point that we recognize the total fulfillment that is our divine right. Have a nice day.
Wow.
So what does that mean? Not my will, but thine be done. Not my will, but thine be done. Not my will, but thine be done. Not my will, but not my will, but thine be done. Not my will, but thine be done. Not my will, 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 but not my will, but thine be done. 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 Talking to the higher self, not my will, but thine be done. Talking to the source of all is, not my will, 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 but thine be done. So put a little funk in it, put a little beat in it, put a little feeling in it, make a memory in my body, make a memory in my body. My body is the seat of memories. When I do something with some feeling, I remember it longer than when I just do it from the neck up. That's why I always jam. Besides, I like funk. Okay. Why? Because I'm alive.
Oh.
I'm alive. Life is flowing through me.
Yes, it is. Oh. Is that what you call that? Life is flowing through him.
Those who are dysfunctional are triggered right now. Some people get scared to death. They see somebody act like a regular person. We're in the class about being ourselves. What you doing being yourself? That's against the rules. You're supposed to be acting like somebody else. You're a teacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. I am a teacher. I'm a demonstrator. I'm going to be me. I'm going to let you see what it looks like the person just be themselves.
Wow. Thank you.
I need to see that in you. I want to see who you are.
That's helpful.
I want to get past your sentry, your troll.
Yeah.
I want to see you whole.
See what?
I want to see you whole.
Oh.
So you trying to take our relationship to the next level?
That's for the name. Leave my whole out of it.
Happiness is not permitted. We're supposed to be working on how to be happy. Y'all moving too fast. You skipping ahead. You're happy too soon. Y'all putting me out of a job. Shut up. That's right. Be miserable. Not my will, but thine be done. 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 Does that begin to make sense to you?
Yeah.
Do you see how it changes how you have even been taught to interpret my teachings? Desire, intention, allow, and surrender. Desire, intention, allow, and surrender. But it is surrender into a way of being that the world can never know. You will be a way of being that the world can never know. There are three types of beings in a way. Beings who, at this point, are completely asleep. And beings that are completely asleep think anything that's remotely like what we're talking about tonight is absolute, total, 100% insanity. They think you're certifiable insane, and you need to be put away.
Are those like zombies?
You know, they are like zombies. They are like zombies. Regular people are like zombies in a way, because zombies, you know, they are really walking dead. And the walking dead are people who are walking around with no love and no life and no joy within them, just acting out what the world has described their life should be, and afraid to go outside of that particular script, even though they're not happy. But they still won't do anything different, and ridicule anyone that dares to do anything different. Then the next group of people are partially asleep and partially awake. Now, people who are partially asleep and partially awake are people who can tune into metaphysical New Thought teachings, or any kind of personal growth teachings that are making you become more responsible for your experience. Not completely awake, but not completely asleep. So that means that they are not beyond reason. People who are completely asleep are beyond reason. You can't reason with them. People who are beginning to awaken, they're open to reason. And then those who are awake, quite obviously, would be the beings that are totally aware of what's going on around them, and they are doing desire, intention, allowance, and surrender. That's how they're living their lives, and so they're in a field of vibration that draws very conscious beings to them, or anyone that would come, they would see them as a stepping stone and not as an obstacle. So they're generally very, very happy because they feel like there's a conspiracy for their happiness. Amen. That everything is happening to bring them what they want. So they don't look at things like they get depressed because they lost their job. They would realize that was part of the upward spiral.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be depressed because their relationship ended. They would know that was part of the upward spiral to having the kind of relationship that they deserve. They would never regret anything falling away out of their life. That's the totally aware being. They know that there's only love, there's only spirit, there's only truth. There is nothing else. That sounds like a really cool way to live.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a surrender into a way of being in which you may never receive an Oscar for your acting. But it is a way of being in which your consciousness becomes totally open to your union with all of creation.
Yeah.
I'm open to my union with you, and I can be joined with all of you, because joining with you has nothing to do with your bodies. You can't join with everybody physically. I tried that in the 90s. And I'm here to report back after my experiment that even though there was a lot of fun, I never achieved my goal. More people was being born every minute. So it didn't work. All right? Okay? So oneness has nothing to do with the body. It has to do with the joining of the minds and the hearts, joining on a common purpose, a common goal. We can join in purpose, but we can't all join in bodies.
Wow.
I know. So just lighten up about the body thing. The body is neutral. The body is neutral. It's totally neutral. It'll be to you what you believe it is. You see it as sinful, guilty, and bad, then you'll attack it, and it'll probably not be too pleasant to be in. But if you look at your body with love and you see your body as an aid to help you reach the truth and the love and the beauty that you want, then your body will perform really cool. You know. So watch out for the guilt. The guilt is what attacks the body. And we've been taught that good people feel guilty about everything.
Yes.
And then we wonder why so many people are physically ill.
They're good and ill.
Because they really believe feeling guilty all the time makes them a good person, which is the same as saying believing that I deserve to be punished all the time makes me a good person. Believing that I'm bad makes me a good person. That's a mistake. We make mistakes. Mistakes are for correction, but you're not really guilty. And that's good news.
Yes.
That's good. But you don't know what I did. No, I don't. That's how you know it's not real. Because you have to tell me about it. I don't see it right in front of me. It's not something that's obvious. So you got to tell me the things to make me afraid of you.
Yeah.
You got to tell me your history that would make me be afraid of you. And people say, well, you know, people will take advantage of you if you don't, well, if you're on that level of consciousness, then you do need to go ahead and go and Google them and get your background checked. Because you're on a level of consciousness that you would attract a person like that because you're so untrustworthy and suspicious. So when someone doesn't trust me, it just means they aren't trustworthy. That's the way I look at it. Well, thank you for revealing to me that you aren't trustworthy. Why? Because you don't trust me. And I know I'm trustworthy. So you already showed me you're a poor judge of character. Because I know me, and I know what my motive is, and I know what my purpose is. And I know it's not to harm. I don't have a conscious intent to be harmful. So if you're looking at me like I might be that way, that's because of the suspicion and the guilt in your own mind. Yes. You're the one that's not trustworthy. So thank you for revealing that. Yes. And fortunately, if you don't trust me, you're not going to come around me, thank God. Thank you, God, that those who don't like me don't come around me. Because there was a time when I hated myself so much that people that didn't like me stayed around me. You wish they would leave, and they wouldn't. Right? Have you ever been in a relationship where you wish the person would leave and they wouldn't?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right. I'm so glad to be in your presence, Holy One, now. It's an honor. It's a total honor. Okay. So you will talk, check this out. Now don't do this in front of the wrong people, maybe. You will talk with a leaf as it falls from a tree. You will see the soul of the kitten that you pet. You will talk with angels and masters, and you will be involved in board meetings in the high cosmic conference rooms.
You repeat that?
Yeah, that when you begin to really wake up to who you really are, you'll be able to talk to a leaf. You'll know that the tree has as much consciousness as you have. You'll know that a rock has as much consciousness. Rocks are just really laid back.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? A rock is, everything is alive. Nothing's not live, but a rock is just, you got to just give a rock credit. A rock just ain't about being moved too much. You know what I'm saying? And so everything is alive. Everything is consciousness. All things are alive. And so when you wake up, you really are able to communicate with everything. One of the things you can tell, one of the ways you can tell when you're beginning to lose the vibration of fear will be how animals react to you. They, especially wild animals, they will tend to lose their fear. They'll tend to come closer, and they'll tend to do things like, I have less vibration of fear, so I notice when I'm in the park that the squirrels and the geese and everything will come a lot closer to me than I would be accustomed to them. I gotta look down and there the squirrel is doing that. You know what I'm saying? And I went to England and I went to this park and birds started to land on my shoulders and on my arms, and it was kind of freaking me out at first. And it was like, wow, just don't poop. That's one of my best shirts, So I was like,
that's not very St. Francis like.
That's right. That wouldn't. Yeah, St. Francis wouldn't do that, but Saint Bubba.
Yeah. Same bubble wood.
Same bubble
Same
wood.
bubble,
Yeah, same bubble wood. Don't forget, I'm side bubble.
Right,
Okay.
that's right.
All right. Yeah. So as you change your vibration from fear to love, you will find your physical environment responding to you differently. You know. So the other thing it told us was that you will know that the body mind you once thought was yours is little more than a temporary teaching device. Hello, I would like you to see my temporary teaching device. Your bodies are your temporary teaching devices. So take a moment to look at everybody's temporary teaching device. This is an opportunity to check everybody out who seems spiritual. Okay, all right. Now don't you be wanting somebody just for their teaching device. The temptation is to want somebody for their teaching device.
Instead of their teaching.
Instead of the teaching. So a tool to be picked up, this is a tool to be picked up. This is a tool to be picked up and utilized in God's direction. And put aside when its usefulness is done. Your body is a teaching device that you have temporarily that's to be utilized at the direction of love or God and then put aside when its usefulness is done. We call that death. But you didn't die. You just put aside your temporary teaching device. That's what happens. And then when you go to a funeral, you're looking at the temporary teaching device in a casket, but not the person. The person is probably watching that body with as much wonderment as you are.
You just graduated.
You just graduated. You just graduated. You just graduated. Death is nothing that we think it is. It's a great release.
Yes.
It's freedom.
Yes.
It's cool. It's much easier than birth.
Yeah. It's awakening.
Birth is an awakening. Birth is a trip.
Yeah.
Like I said a couple of weeks ago, you chilled out, air conditioned, being fed, floating around, everything's cool, and all of a sudden you contracted, squares through a little opening, shot out into the world in most cases. Somebody pop you on your butt as soon as you get in the cold room and say, welcome to the world.
Yeah.
So birth is a lot more traumatic than death is. You can die and not even know you died.
That's right.
There's a lot of truth to that movie Ghost. You know, death can be, you know, wait a minute, you know, y'all done it a million times, but you're pretending like you don't remember. That's okay. That's the name of the game, is that we act like we don't know what the truth is so that we can play this human game that we're playing right now. But it's a lot more fun if you are consciously human than if you're unconsciously human.
Different trip.
Totally different trip. You know, being in a body and I'm conscious of desire, intentions, allowance, and surrender is a lot more enjoyable than being in the body and don't have any idea of who I am and just think I'm a victim of everything and everybody that I see, which is what the average person thinks. That's not as much fun.
No.
So you're going to put your body aside when its usefulness is done, so that even when it's time to go through transition, like they said, like some souls, and this is just different ways of looking at things that's interesting. It says like souls that say they died in a plane crash, and then they find out that there was something wrong in this particular type of plane. You know, it's possible that those souls were ready to set the body aside for whatever reason anyway, and that doesn't mean it's at a certain age. It can be at 5 years old or 90 years old. The soul can decide it's ready to exit the body. But in the meantime, why not find out, for those of us who think we're still here, that airplane needs to have that particular thing fixed.
Right.
So I left, but I also was helpful in my exit.
Yes.
That's just another way. In other words, there are other ways to look at things other than the way we've been taught.
Yes.
And I'm certainly not saying the way that I'm looking at things is the only way to look at things. It is just another point of view. That's all I'm doing on a Tuesday night. You know, so if I expected everybody to agree with me, I don't need to be in the front of the class. I don't expect all of you to agree with everything I say. And it's great because it doesn't matter. Then I can continue to be free because I respect your right to agree or disagree, and I respect my right to have a perception. That's my perception too. So we all cool. That's why I don't defend as much as possible. I don't defend anything. You will not get me in a debate about nothing. If you're one of those people that need to get me in a debate, you're going to be very disappointed because I'm not going to defend. But that's a surefire sign that I don't believe what I'm talking about.
Right.
And so there would be something for me to prove to you. There's nobody to prove anything to, really, because there is no one outside of you. We're all just projections of the one man. We're just extensions of the one man. So we all are part of the same whatever this is. So we are one.
Vibrational field.
And whatever this life is that's going through us, if something snatched it away, like for instance, if someone took all the air out of this room right now, I don't care how you look, what color you are, what age you are, it's a pretty good chance your body's going to crumble and fall on the floor. Whatever that life force is, we are all sharing it. We are it. We are one. It's just one of us here, pretending like it's a lot of us here, which could be fun if we remembered there was only one of us here.
Yes.
Then your uniqueness and my uniqueness and my desire to be different and your desire to be different and my desire to be special and your desire to be special could be interesting and fun and exciting because we would all be revealing really cool different things to each other as long as we realized we were one. Then we would enjoy each other and not hurt each other, want to hurt each other, want the best for each other, and not be afraid of each other. And you could be you and I could be me, and we're the same thing. So I love to be around people who are expressing their individuality while recognizing our common oneness. It's hell being around people who think they're separate and they really believe they are. They're the ones who are no fun at all. Never. Because they're afraid to ever express themselves outside of the box. And the more you wake up, the more you're going to want to follow your own light and not somebody else's. And people who are still afraid, they're going to try to make you feel like, at your request, because you could have been that way one time, they have a tendency to make you feel like you should be afraid of doing that. Because they're afraid to do that. If you're working a job every day that you hate and you're doing your time, and you see somebody decide to step out of that and do their own thing, then the temptation from the ego would be to try to come up with all the reasons why that person is making a mistake and you're the one that's doing the thing that you should do that's sensible. Or else how could you stand to continue to be there?
That's right.
You've got to make the other person seem like they're the one with the problem if you're scared to stand up and trust your light and your connection with Source. If you really believe that job is taking care of you and not your source, then of course you would never leave that job to follow your own dream and your own creativity. And you shouldn't, because you just increase your fear even more, which wouldn't be good. So stay there until you feel moved to do something else. Notice I said moved to do it. In other words, you couldn't help yourself. And you would take 100% responsibility for your experience when you do it. You wouldn't be holding anybody else responsible for what happened to you because you made that decision. Because you're trusting your source. And you, like I said, you've dedicated yourself to be used as a conduit for the source. And that's going to mean you're going to be doing the thing that makes you happy because your source wants you to have perfect happiness, and your function and your happiness are the same thing. They're the same thing. Your function isn't something that makes you feel like you're sacrificing. That's what you're already doing by not doing your gift. But when you're doing your gift, you are joyful. There's nothing I enjoy more than what I'm doing right now.
Amen.
This is my greatest joy, is allowing myself to be used as a messenger of love. So that's how I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I've been able to do it for 27 years and be provided for by the universe and through incredible loving channels like those that are here. But it took guts to do it. Especially when I started teaching the Course in Miracles, really people hadn't really heard of the Course in Miracles. Not too many have heard of it now, let alone 27 years ago. But I am sustained by the love of God, not the love of my own ego's ability to come up with ways and figure out ways for me to be successful. That's the slow way.
Yes.
I have desire, I have intention, I've been cultivating allowance, and I'm learning how to surrender more and more and more and more and more. And the more I surrender, the easier things go. So you have a special function that nobody but you can fulfill. You have a special gift that no one else has in the form you have it in. We're waiting for you to have the courage and the faith to start using it. Thy will be done, like we just said. Exactly right, Aaron. Not my will, but thine be done. So even when it's time to go through the transition that you know is death, nothing will disturb your peace. Like this guru once told me when I was concerned about teaching there is no sin and there is no hell in the South. Wondered if somebody would take me out in the name of God. You know, because I was teaching in Memphis, Tennessee, the belt buckle of the Bible belt. And those part of me thought about that. You know? Thought I could have my own personal ISIS. You know, where somebody take me out, you know, because I'm saying something that's opposite to what they believe. And the guru looked at me and said, I was afraid that somebody might take me out. That killed me. And he said, so what? That was his response. So what? Because I can't die. Who I really am can't really die. Only my body can be laid aside. That's deep. So as the body dies, which simply means, now check this out. And as the body dies, which means simply that your attention begins to release itself from the body. So death is your attention being released from the identification of being a body. He says it's just like the hand of a carpenter is released from the handle of a hammer as it is laid down on the table on the way to dinner. You will be able to watch the process with total equanimity and joy. So laying down your body is the same as me laying down this iPod when I have no use for it anymore. But I don't think I've died because I've stopped using the iPod. But all the people who think I am an iPod, they're going to come to my iPod's funeral.
Yes.
And they're going to stand around my iPod and go, oh, Raj.
And talk about your iPod.
You know what I'm saying? They're going to totally think that I'm the body that they're looking at, which will depress them because it will remind them of their own death.
Exactly.
People are crying at the funeral more from the thought of their own death one day than they are at the person that looks like they're gone.
That's right.
You know, it's a reminder that this is going to be you one day.
Yeah.
And so this is telling us, no, you're not the hammer, you're the carpenter. You're not the hammer, you're the carpenter. That's different, isn't it? That's really different. So you all are some awesome, awesome, beautiful, incredible carpenters. Would you acknowledge yourself, Holy Spirit? That was deep. You got down tonight. You heard stuff. You got to give yourself credit for that. That was some deep stuff right there. So we're going to do the financial expression of appreciation. Thank you for sharing with me. I'm a full-time teacher of the course and the way of mastery. So thank you for being generous to yourself. So we're going to do a quick recap. Let me get that, pass that around. And over here, in just a minute, we're going to do a quick recap in a minute so you can walk out with that. Also, those of you online, if you want to make a financial expression of appreciation, just go to my website, earlpurdy.com. And I'm also available for one-on-one sessions called Clarity Sessions, where we bring all these new thoughts to whatever situation that you're going through so that you can see it differently. And those of you who are open to it, I also have learned astrology, numerology, and I bring that into the session if you're open to it. If you're not, that's cool. You don't have to. But it's just another way of getting some information. So go to my website, earlpurdy.com, if you're online, and check it out. It displays it in detail. And let's get together so that you can go past any blocks that keep you from realizing who you really are. All right. Sunday, we're going to do the Course in Miracles at 1 o'clock on Sunday right here. Okay, so here we go. All right. One thing I'd like to remember, who would finish this sentence? One thing I heard tonight that I'd like to remember is
The way of the heart is correct perception.
the way of the heart is correct perception. One of the things I'd like to remember from tonight is
Not my will, but thine.
not my will but thine, O Lord. All right. Anything else?
Leave my whole out of it.
Say what now? You- Say what now? I didn't hear it. Tell me.
Leave my whole out of it.
Leave your whole out of it. That is very wise advice. Yes, I agree with you. Then you know how real love really is.
That's right.
Yeah.
Allowance cultivates trust.
Allowance cultivates trust. Allowance cultivates trust. Anybody else hear anything tonight they'd like to remember?
Allowance
Everything
cultivates trust.
Allowance cultivates trust.
Yeah, everything that comes into my life is good.
Everything that comes into my life is really coming into my life to serve me, to help me, to be used as a stepping stone to get to the point that I have what I really want. That's a big one. That's a big one. Anybody else? One thing I heard tonight that I want to remember.
I think lose my life is because it's not inner spiral, my higher spiral.
That's right. Whatever you seem to lose or leave your life is really a blessing because there's something even greater that's coming into your experience that's going to lead you to a higher level of love and a higher level of joy. If I really heard that, I'd feel better. That's how you can always tell if somebody's really heard what you said, because it would generate more peace and more joy to know that everybody in your life can benefit you. For real, everybody in your life is benefiting you. And any thought that I have to the contrary is just a grievance. That's what it is. I have a grievance, which is saying if they were different, I'd be happy. That's what a grievance says. If they just act differently or spoke differently or treated me differently, then I would be happy, as if my happiness depended on their behavior. Your happiness does not depend on anybody else's behavior, because you're the one that's giving it all the meaning it has for you. Anybody else? One thing I heard tonight that I like to remember. Billy.
My special function is my happiness.
My special function is my happiness. That's how I know that I'm doing what I came here to do, is that I feel joyful. If I'm not joyful in my everyday experience, then I'm not clear about what my function is, and I'm not expressing it. And if you're not, then that's okay. You're still innocent. Just ask what it is. Ask to be shown so that you can start moving in that direction. You want to follow the path with heart. What can you get your heart? And don't use money as an excuse for whether or not you follow your heart. That means you're still doing it from your ego. If money is your first consideration, you're in your ego. Because your gift will create everything, will be given that you need when you're fulfilling your function. It will come to you. All right, here we go. Last 5 minutes. And it's St. Patrick's Day. I don't really know what that means, but it wasn't a big black holiday, so I don't remember the last time a bunch of black folk were celebrating St. Patrick's Day. But, we were celebrating Jane Brown Day. And it's Jen's birthday today. That's right. She picked up that hammer a few years ago today and came on in here. I'm so glad you did. Yeah, radiant joy, radiant joy. The chorus says birth isn't a beginning, it's a continuing. So I always like to say happy continuation day.
Nice.
Because that's what we're doing, we're continuing. That's what this was, we continued.
Yes.
We're like the ultimate sequel. Here we go. Allowance means that you begin to view life differently. View life differently. View life differently. Allowance means that you begin to view life differently. View life differently. View life differently. Begin to realize that you're already loved by the only source that matters. That you come for a much higher purpose than can be made manifest in the ways of the world. You have come for a much higher purpose than can be manifest in the world, but is not of the world. Allowance is cultivating a way of looking. Allowance is cultivating a way of looking at everything in your life as if it's a stepping stone to getting what you want. Allowance is cultivating a way of looking at everything in your life as if it's a stepping stone to getting what you want. Allowance is allowing God to be in control of your life. Allow God to be in control of your life. Allow the source, the creator, to be in control of your life. Allow love to be in control of your life. Allow truth to be in control of your life. Allowance is a submission. Allow certain things to fall out of your life. Allow certain things to fall out of your life. Allow certain people to fall out of your life. Allow certain people to fall out of your life, and you know who they are, and you know who they are, and you know who they are. 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 Allow those people to fall out of your life. Allow those people to fall out of your life. Allow those people to fall out of your life. Allow those people to fall out of your life. Know that you live in a world that is just the field of vibrations and energies. You are vibrations and energies. You are vibrations and energies. You are vibrations and energies. The fourth key is surrender. Surrender means that you don't feel restless anymore. You don't feel restless anymore. Surrender means that you are not living as your personality. It means you are living as the true self, the real self that lives in you. Surrender means accepting 100% responsibility for the dream and all the things that's happening in your dream. I accept responsibility, 100% responsibility for how I see everything that's happening to me. I assume 100% responsibility for how I see. I am assuming 100% responsibility for how I see. I am assuming 100% responsibility for how I see. You are now assuming 100% responsibility for how you see. Surrender. Surrender means you know everything is in God's hands and not yours. It's in God's hands and not yours. Surrender to the fact that you are surrendering to your greater self now. You surrender to your higher self now. You surrender to your all that is self now. You are surrendering to your greater self now. You are surrendering to God now. You are surrendering to your source right now. Right now, tell yourself, I am sustained by the love of God. 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 Yeah. I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love. Let's chant it. Let's go. I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God.
All right.
Appreciate y'all. Thanks for coming out, Holy Spirit. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for remembering together. Yes, you are some awesome stepping stones.